Good evening, everyone. Welcome to VA Claims Veterans Helping Veterans Live Q&A. As always, we got our lovely administrator, Stephanie, and our moderators, Ashley and Blake, with us tonight. How's everyone doing?
Good.
Doing well.
Everyone's good? We're going to give it a couple minutes for more people to get on. We've already got a lot of questions lined up, so that's good. We can kind of prepare.
Yeah, we appreciate that.
And Stephanie's got some news, I think.
Yeah, so we are going to be dropping the clothing allowance video that Chris and I finished up today. So be sure to check that out. It's a good video. If you think that you qualify for clothing allowance, it's a good video to watch. It's got some good information. So be sure to check that out. Chris, when are we dropping that? Tomorrow, what time?
2:45.
Okay. So around 2:45 or 14:45, maybe that's what we should say.
14:45.
And we're gonna try and keep this one to about an hour tonight. Everybody's got a lot of things going on. My back's killing me tonight, guys. I got my heating pad and stuff. But more importantly, if you notice, Chris is kind of in a different background. That's because he's in our RV. We're preparing to leave tomorrow because in about 2 weeks, I'm going to be a Gigi.
That's a grandmother.
That means AKA grandma.
AKA grandma.
That's right. A GM. Gigi is great grandmother.
Well, I want to be a Gigi. G-I-G-I. So anyways, our next actual live will be both of us from the RV if the grandbaby decides not to come early. Then it's canceled. So yeah, so that's what we're doing. But so anyways, yeah, we appreciate everybody coming out. We'll try and answer your questions the best that we can. As usual, if we can't answer them tonight or it gets a little bit too lengthy, please feel free to email us at VACVHV@gmail.com. Remember to spread the word, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and watch those videos. Also join our Facebook group if you haven't done so already.
There's a lot of good information on the Facebook group. So definitely subscribe to that. And obviously the YouTube page, you click that bell, you get some notifications, especially for the new videos that are going to be coming out. So make sure to do that.
Yes, and Blake did remind me about the disclaimer because I always do forget, and I actually don't have it up, but I'm gonna kind of just go over it a little bit. That basically all of us here are veterans. We don't claim to be associated with the VA in any way. We don't assist, participate, or anything to do with claims. It's all information to help you guys based on our own experience. So with that, should we get started? That's a nutshell.
All right. Okay, here we go.
All right.
Hold on, we got more stuff coming. We got a lot of questions early, so this is great. So I'm going to pop off here, and we'll get started.
Okay.
Okay, so this first one is from Seymour BZ. Wasn't added to problem list with SCT code, though. Should I request that they add it to problem list along with adding ICD code, not just VA SCT number, or should it be good to submit?
And then there's another one right behind it.
Okay, so update. Had a follow-up with VA thoracolumbar 10%, and my blue button they listed dorsalgia established, DXL spine stenosis, spondylitis, and radiculopathy. Management, meds, therapy, old MRIs were okay.
Okay, so Blake, I think we can kind of touch on this, and you can touch on it from a medical standpoint, but for a problem list, basically that's exactly what it is. It's problem list. It's not a diagnosis. It's problems you have that they're trying to figure out what's going on with you. And did you want to touch on that about the ICT codes and all that?
The ICD-10 codes, it doesn't matter as long as you have a diagnosis. It may show up on your problem list as back pain. That's probably not as specific as they're going to want for a claim. They've got it as dorsalgia, which is the middle back, and thoracolumbar. So that they already have a diagnosis for that. Looks like you might be rated for that also. And then wasn't there one, Chris? Wasn't
Radiculopathy.
Yeah, but isn't there one more question from him about adding it to an older claim?
Yeah, now we're going to, Chris, pop up those two from BZ that start out. Yeah. Go ahead, Ash.
Okay. Currently doing chiropractic pain management as well. Also found record of 2018 sciatica diagnosis from MRI. Should I claim back date on supplemental?
And then there's one more behind it.
So this was in my very first 2020 claim I submitted. Would that be a duty to assist error since I submitted the documentation then showing it?
Okay, so part one, the 2018 sciatic diagnosis, if that was submitted as evidence and it was not considered as evidence, then that could be an error. But I have a feeling you just found that maybe 2018 diagnosis. And furthermore, in 2020, if you did not appeal that decision within 1 year, then you've lost your rights to appeal that decision. So if any of this is now
Moot.
New evidence that was previously denied, because again, we're kind of going off. I think the veterans rated according to what we were reading earlier with the 10%, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And so if you already rated, I'm gonna shorten this, BZ. If you're already rated BZ at 10% for the back, then it's an increase at this point based on your ROM, your flex, and your extension and pain. So all that would really actually be moot, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think he can go back. He can use that evidence if he was to apply for an increase, and to show that would just be a whole new claim.
Right. So, and if you want to further, okay, BZ said understood. So yeah, BZ, if you're already rated for the back, then this would be then you would use new evidence to support the increase. And then again, it would be based. So just to recap, it would be based on your ROM, your flex, and your extension and pain, that showing that it's gotten worse for you to go to the next, which I believe is 20% for the back. So 10 to 20. So I hope that answers your questions.
Okay, this next one's from Kevin Trotter. So denied the TDIU claim. VA stated in my decision letter that my CMP examiner did not state that I couldn't lift or stand, so I was denied. He filed for the higher level review. Is that the right move? 90% currently.
Okay, so if I remember correctly, Kevin, I think you have some issues with your eyes, like blindness. So, and again, I think we talked about this last week. Being blind doesn't necessarily mean you can't work. So the TDIU claim was denied because obviously they're stating that you can still do certain things. So let me bring up something here real quick. I wanted to show you, Kevin, and everybody else can. You may want to try and go through the VR&E to see if you are retrainable, if there's another field you can do, or if they even consider that you are unable to work. Because a lot of times VR&E will say they can't retrain somebody.
Right. And then that's grounds for TDIU right there.
Right. So you may want to go to that link, and I'll actually drop that link. Let me put that right now while I'm thinking about it. I'll actually drop this link into the comment section right now. Let's see. Can I do this? Why is it not letting me do this? There we go. All right.
Hey, this is Seymour Breezy's question.
Okay, well, hold on. Let us finish with Kevin. before you bring
that's right. We're still working on Kevin. Sorry.
Yeah, we're still working on Kevin. So, Kevin, I just dropped the link in there for the VR and E. I don't think the HLR is the route to go because all that's going to do is further confirm that the decision had no errors, and they're just going to confirm the denial. So my opinion is you're either going to need new evidence to support that you cannot work due to your service-connected disability, or you need to go the VR and E route and see if you can get retrained, or if they confirm, no, you can't be retrained. Does anybody else have something to follow up with on that?
No.
Okay. All right, Kevin, I hope that helps. All right, what you got, Chris, on the follow-up with Beezy?
Okay, so would a better question be, should a duty to assist have happened if I submitted neuropathy incorrectly when it should have been sciatica with radiculopathy? Thanks, y'all. He appreciates it.
Well, that's two different things, right, Blake?
Two different things, and the question is, are they supposed to check every time you submit a claim that that's your diagnosis? You know, so that would be my question. I'm not that familiar with duty to assist errors, but
well, let me ask you this: the question I want to ask you on a medical standpoint.
okay.
What I understand, Beezy's rated for the back, not for the what do you call that?
Radiculopathy.
Yeah, that's the lower extremities, correct?
He says that, let's see, and his other question is thoracolumbar 10% in my blue button. They listed dorsalgia, established diagnosis, L-spine stenosis, spondylosis, and radiculopathy with management and meds. Okay, those were listed as a diagnosis. A duty to assist error, they're not supposed to read your mind and go, oh, well, he meant you filed under neuropathy, even though you had no diagnosis. And we see that happen all the time. People file for something they don't have a diagnosis for. So are they supposed to read your mind and go, oh, he must mean the radiculopathy? Not necessarily.
So Beezy, I guess it's a question of, and this is where, if Chris, you pop up the email so we can move on. I know we've got a lot. If you email me the decision from back, I guess it was 2018 or whatnot, let us take a look at that. Redacting your personal information, Beezy. Let us look at that, and then we can give you a better answer through email based on how you filed it. Because if it was filed by you, while the VA has a duty to assist, they don't, like you said, can't read minds. They don't, if you filed your back, but you didn't file one thing, then that's on the veteran, so to speak. So email us that decision, redact your personal information. We'll take a look at it and we'll get back to you.
LG. So he says, hello. He's currently having 50% for flat feet and plantar fasciitis, currently deferred. If granted, will it be separate or combined?
Yes, it can be separate. If a veteran has a bilateral pes planus with plantar fasciitis, you could be eligible, as you already are, for the 50% rating for the pronounced bilateral pes planus and 30% rating for the plantar fasciitis. Again, it just depends, but the answer is yes, you can be rated separately. This is the plantar fasciitis ratings. I love to use this this website, Military Made Easy. So, but you can actually go to the CFR and look it up as well. But the answer, pretty short and simple, yes.
Could you, this one's from Miss Mary Hall. Could you please explain what is offset mean? Also, does this date include IRR?
Okay, so Mary, you're going to have to touch on this before we can answer it, and we'll come back to it. But are you meaning a debt? That's what I think offset means to me. Can you please elaborate, Mary, on that question and get back to us, and we'll come back to it?
possibly having a
IRR.
no. She took an
Reserves?
early out payment,
Yeah,
and
but I need more information. That's
they're offsetting it by taking it out of her monthly.
my thing is it could be military separation. IRR has something to do with reserves.
Independent
Yes.
Ready Reserve.
It is
Okay.
because I was in it.
Right. So it sounds like she might have a debt. So if you could just elaborate a little bit more, Mary, we'll answer the question a little bit better.
All right. Kevin had a follow-up. I'm not sure if
Okay.
it's gonna help.
Follow up. I have a bilateral eye disease currently. He's proposed reduction to 70%.
Wait a minute. Was he just 90? So you went from, oh my gosh. So you filed for the TDIU and it not only got denied, but now you got a proposed reduction from 90 to 70 for the bilateral eye disease. Hey. Okay. Couple things going on here, Kevin. One, if you've been proposed a reduction, you have 30 days to request a hearing. It's vitally important from the decision date that you request the hearing. You have 60 days to submit any new evidence to support not being reduced. Now keep in mind, while the reduction is being proposed, you're still going to be paid at 90, but you're going to need to provide the evidence to support. So the 90 to 70, the 90 to 70 is a significant drop. So what disability are they proposing the reduction from? What percentage were you to what are they proposing now?
Well, if he was only at 75%, or if he was only at 85,
90.
yeah, but if his overall was 85, rounded up to 90,
right?
Then to get down to he would have to be dropped down to 75 or 74.
74, right? So it's a significant drop. So the question is, it sounds like it has to do with the eye disease,
right?
So Kevin, it's vitally important that decision date of reduction. You've got 30 days from the date of that reduction letter.
Yeah, it's not when you received it; it's when the letter is dated.
Mm-hmm. So you got some things to work on here. If you need some help, Kevin, again, Chris, pop up the email. We could do a consult or something, and we can get through this. And we can look at the denial letter. We can also look at the proposal to redact your personal information. But you need to get on this sooner than later, because if you don't do anything, you're going to go from 90 to 70.
Yeah. And then you're going to have to file a whole new claim for an increase back to the 90.
Yeah.
This next one's from Goldilocks. So I need the information to help a veteran get a ramp added to his home, as well as getting a bathroom upgrade for the handicap purposes.
Okay, so let me show you this. I saw that let me see if I can pull this up over here a little bit wider. This is the specially adapted housing program. So a couple things on this. First of all, it has to be for a service-connected disability. This grant is great. It can help a lot of veterans out, but there's a lot of qualifications and requirements for this. I'll go ahead and let me drop this into the comment section as well. Let's see if I can do that. There we go. And you can look this over and give this information to the veteran. Also on here, there's lots of links that will be helpful to get them in the right place to see if they qualify for this grant. But there's a lot of benefits to this. I've seen a lot of veterans use this grant. Anybody else have anything to add to it?
Paperwork is everything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Okay, this next one is from Mr. Peter. So after my ER experience, I think they finally got it that my back was injured in training at Fort Gordon, and the decades of back issues I've had might be correlated.
Correlated. Is there a question to this?
Yeah, I don't know that
What
there's
was-
a question.
Is there any more to this, Chris?
No, that was it.
Okay. Well, first of all, Peter, I really appreciate all your comments on YouTube. You're always such a positive inspiration to us, so we appreciate that. But I'm glad if the ER experience is finally getting you some results for the back. But if you have a question to
Is
this
he looking for an upgrade or like a
or connection,
connection? Yeah.
let us know. Go ahead and drop that question to follow up in the.
I'm not sure if I missed the second part of that, but
I don't see one. I looked through it. I didn't see one.
okay.
Well, I see where he made a comment to Breezy saying that his L2, 3, 4, and 5 are totaled, and it's not enough, it seems like. So I'm wondering
So
if
that's I'm wondering if he's just looking to make it increase or connect it.
right.
Yeah, let us know, Peter, if you can kind of add on to that.
Okay, this next one's from Jose Rodriguez. So I went to a CMP exam on Friday. It was for lumbar strain, but the doctor said the VA wanted to examine my hip. She was very confused why they would want the hip examined if it's a lumbar strain. Half.
Okay. Well, first of all, CMP exam is very, very specific. You're going there for a specific exam.
Hold on. There's a second part to this.
That's a
All
1
right.
of 2, and then there's a 2 of 3.
There's a 3. So hold on. Here's the second part.
Oh, that's what he
Okay.
meant by 1, 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she left my hip. He has bilateral sacroiliitis and checked my x-rays of my lumbar, saw arthritis, and she said she is putting in her diagnosis and her own notes for it.
Is there another one?
2 out of 3.
Yeah. And then there's part 3 here.
Okay, would the arthritis fall for the whole spine or just the lumbar section? In this case, it was L1
Mhm.
through S5.
He corrected that. It's L5 through S1.
So let
Okay.
me
Yeah,
show.
it's just going to go with the lumbar region. If that's
Yeah, I'm
all
gonna
that's shown on the X-ray,
Let me see if
they are not going to extrapolate that to the whole spine.
Right. And let me pull this up real quick again. I freaking love this website.
Hopefully, she did range of motion on your lumbar spine and recorded that also, because that'll be the big one.
So the ratings are broken down into cervical, and then you've got the thoracic. So think about it. Got the neck, which is the cervical, guys, right? And then you've got, Jose, what you're referring to, your lower back. So if you noticed here, this is what it's talking about. And if you go down here to the ratings for the back, which Ashley is very familiar with, over here is for the lower back. So these are the measurements which Blake was just talking about between your ROM, your flexin. Okay, she did do range of motion. Okay. So if she did range of motion and she did the flexin and the extension, she talked about the pain. All of that is encumbersome, Jose, to how you, so long as it's service connected, if it's due to service, would go with 0 to 10 to 20. Now there's no 30 for the back, but once you get to 40, your back is pretty much in a favorable position. And Blake, what does favorable mean? Does that mean not?
Favorable is a neutral position. That's an upright, not flexed, not extended. That's I believe they talk about from a I don't know what frozen in a favorable position. I'm not real sure. I would have called it a neutral position,
because they say the entire thoracic is frozen.
Yeah, it means you can't bend over, you can't flex extend,
and that's high.
Yeah.
He's currently rated at 40% because of flare-ups causing my back to become immobile. to do
Oh
pain.
God, I hope you don't get a reduction. Okay.
I'm at 40%.
That's very high. So you're already rated. So was this for an increase? Because I think what happened here, Jose, is you went in thinking other things could probably be maybe added as secondary, like arthritis or something, but it's all encumbersome. So if you're already rated at 40, you're back as, yeah,
I would leave it alone.
yeah, you should have left it alone, because unless you're in, can't move,
yeah,
it's not going to go any higher than 40. I hope to God they don't reduce. I'm sorry.
He said he was at 10% before, but I luckily had a flare up during an exam, and I was rated to do flare ups causing loss of motion.
Yeah, be prepared for a possible reduction.
There's another follow up, Chris. Can you pop that one up? It says during the exam. Okay, go ahead, Ash.
During the exam, I had a flare up, and they took x-rays, and that's when they saw bilateral sacroiliitis, and it was bad. Doctor is trying to not do surgery. So you haven't had surgery on your back?
Wow.
That's actually really, I mean, because I've had surgery on my spine and I'm at 40%.
Yeah, I'm hopeful for you, Jose, that you just stay at 40, because there's really, like I said, then 40 is high, and there's really nothing past that that's 50 or 100 unless your spine is completely frozen and it's not movable.
He said the doctor doesn't want him to do the surgery. He's keeping me in pool therapy. Oh, that'd be nice.
Okay, but is my assessment correct that you filed for an increase with a back rated at 40%? But I had a flare up during pool therapy. Okay. All right. Well, fingers crossed, but I don't see you going anywhere past 40. I just really hope you stay at 40. There's some other things, Jose, you might look at if your back is causing issues, such as your lower
radiculopathy.
Right, your lower left and right extremities due to your back, any nerve damage from it. Yeah, he said give him a sec, but you don't know what you filed? That's kind of puzzling to me too. I'm a little worried, but all right, Jose, find that out, drop that in the comment section, and Chris will pull it up for us, and we'll move on to another question.
This next one's from Cornell Irons. Why is the amputation of toes or fingers not a consideration for SMC?
Well, when you say amputation, I mean, I'm assuming you're talking about obviously the toes. I mean, it's
were they lost due to a service-connected disability? Were they amputated because of something that you're service-connected for?
I mean, the amputation, I get it. Like, because he's talking about like SMCK for loss of creative organ, right? Like for ED or FSAT, I get that, or hysterectomy. And I'm going to ask your medical opinion here, because I'm just thinking outside the box, Blake. That kind of stuff does prevent somebody from doing something in regards to,
Right. For example, it talks about the big toe.
Diabetes.
You can't balance without the big toe. Well, you can, but it's a learned deal. So it was from diabetes.
It is. He just commented.
And is diabetes a service related?
He said yes, diabetes.
Okay. I mean, I guess he's asking about SMC. So are the toes secondary to the diabetes? Did you have
amputation? Amputation is, yes. There's diabetics that have lost toes, feet, 4 feet, all the way up to above the knee amputation from diabetes.
But there's also the amputation rule below the knee too.
I don't know about
that one. Yeah. Back to your question about SMC, I don't make the CFR. That's through Congress. I don't know why there's not SMC for amputation of toes. I know you can be rated for the amputation of the toes, but providing SMC pay for it, where I was going back to it, is a big toe doesn't stop you from having a child, right?
Nope.
Okay. A big toe doesn't stop you from your
But
ED.
could he file this code 5171 amputation of the big toe? Could he file that secondary to his diabetes?
So
Yes,
two toes were amputated.
Right. Cornell, are the toes rated? That's our question first and foremost.
Well, diabetes is rated. The amputation is secondary to the diabetes. So if he's not 100%, he could probably get.
Well, hold on. We're moving fast here. He answered yes, he's service connected for the diabetes, but has he answered, is he rated for the toes being amputated as secondary?
Oh, no.
He has not answered that to us. He's just asking about SMC pay. So Cornell, are the toes rated secondary? That's one question. Then question two, as Blake was mentioning, if they are amputated and he's not 100%, he could get 100% temporary disability while he's recovering for the surgery, from the removal of them, for however long. I don't know how long, recovery is for
He's
amputation.
100% PNT.
Okay.
Then I don't know that I would go after it.
No. And you're not going to die from your toe getting, unfortunately, amputated. And you're already 100% PNT. Claim is pending. Okay. Well, then I guess he has filed for it. So Cornell, if back to your original question, we really don't know why there isn't any SMC for it. But if you've already filed, I'm assuming the amputation of the toe secondary to the diabetes. If the diabetes is rated, then most likely the amputation of the toes as secondary should be rated. I mean, I think we would all agree on that, right?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm.
Oh, God, my back.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So this is the one from Mary, and she clarified. Could you please explain what she meant to say is the onset date?
Onset date of what? Sorry, Mary, I'm still not following.
Yeah.
I guess she's saying the onset date of when she joined, and does that date include the IRR?
Could you please explain what the onset date, and also does this date include IRR? I'm still a little lost.
Yeah.
The onset date. I don't know. Mary, are you trying to ask us the onset date for disabilities or something? Hey, but if you could give us a little bit more to that, a little bit more than a one sentence, give us some more. Give us some more details. We'll be happy to help you. Moving on. We want to make it a short night tonight.
Okay, back to LG. So when it comes to supplemental claims, can you only submit it once? And is buddy letters from my wife or someone I deployed with considered new and relevant?
It is considered new and relevant. And if you have a pending supplemental claim, you can add that evidence to that claim.
I think he's also asking if the supplemental is denied, can you go ahead and do another supplemental? The answer is yes. I mean, if you get new evidence.
Yeah. Anytime you have new evidence, if you have a denied claim and you're within the appeals period.
Or if you're past the appeals and you have new, it's always a supplemental reopening.
Right. But it won't go back. To your
effective date from the original claim.
The effective date won't go back.
So the answer to your question is yes, you can keep filing supplemental so long as you have new evidence. And as Blake said, those layman statements do count as new evidence. However, I don't see a lot of veterans winning when it's just a layman statement as your new evidence to support the previous denial. While they go and attest to you it's always good if you're going to go ahead and do the supplemental to get you some more medical to support it on top of the layman witness statements as well.
A stronger nexus or something.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So this one's from Jamie Pierce. Wife was medboarded in 05 because of her back. VA gave her 0%. She just did a new claim and was rated 20% for back and 10% for sciatica. Can she now do a supplemental claim for back pay?
Nope.
No,
Mm-mm.
no. 20% for the back and 10% for the sciatic.
And what was she medboarded for? Was she retired or was she just separated?
I think Medboard, when you Medboard, she didn't meet medical retirement of 30. She got 0, so she got medically separated.
But that's a DOD. That's a DOD requirement, not a VA requirement. And typically, the VA always rates you higher than the Medboard does.
Right, but I think for his purposes, what I'm understanding is his wife got 0 on both ends. She got the 0 for the DOD and the VA rated because they go through the same comp and pen for both the DOD and VA.
Don't you have to have something even to be separated? Don't they? No,
when you get presented to be determined unfit, your referred condition, which obviously sounds like her back was with her referred condition, that is what is looked at by the VA for compensation purposes and for DOD. So when that was her only referred condition, so since it was 0%, she got medically separated in 05. Hence, 17, 18 years later now, she's filed for an increase on that 0% and has gotten to 20%. But the answer is no, there's no back pay on that at all.
No.
Because she would have had to appeal that 0% with the DOD prior to getting out.
Right.
Now, here's the other thing. If that back is now rated at 20 and she got separation pay for that,
they'll offset it.
They'll offset it if she's getting VA, because you can't have both. You can't double dip. So unless she's 100%. So keep that in mind. If she now has a back rating of 20% when it was 0, and she's got
30% because she also got 10% for sciatica. So that puts her at 25%, which would
right.
Down to 30. But she's still going to have. They're still going to take the offset.
Yeah, they're going to take the offset for sure. So keep that in mind.
All right, we're going to try this one more time. Let's see if Mary.
All right,
see if we got everything. We can figure this out.
All right, go for it.
Right. So she got denied a claim, and they said something about my onset date. I guess because didn't do the claim within the year after discharge, but I had to go into IRR.
Okay. Onset instead of offset. Mm-hmm. I think the original question said offset, and we were trying to figure out what she wanted to offset. It did. So the onset date, which means that you didn't file within the first year, so that had to go under an IRR claim because to set it started to be service connected. Is that what you're getting out of that stuff?
Yeah. Yep. That's exactly correct.
So you would have to have if you were IRR, I don't think you do duty anywhere, and it would have had to been a line of duty injury, and you would have had to have the LOD filled out for that. With
reservists, it's a little different than active duty. When you're reservist, you usually have to have LODs. So that's a tricky situation right there. Hey, Chris, James just mentioned, I guess I can read it. So Jamie, whose wife just got the 20% for the back, says she just went from 70 to 80. So here's the issue, Jamie. I'm not don't hold me to this, but you need to find this out. Because the back was 0 the whole time, the VA was not going to request any money be paid back. But now that the back is rated at 20.
Okay, well, if she's now 70 to 80, she may have actually been, doesn't say whether she was separated or whether she was retired, because all he said was she got 0%
right
for the back. She may have other issues that were rated higher.
True.
That the back is now 20 and 10.
Jamie, did she medically
Well, earlier
separate?
he had said that she had lost a pinky due to
There
a
it is.
gunshot wound. Yeah.
She medically separated. So I was correct. She separated because she did not get to the 30% threshold with DOD to medically retire. So when she medically separated, Jamie, did she receive medical separation pay because of the back? Because that was I'm pretty sure that was the referred condition to separate her. And that's where we're going with this. No. Okay. Well, if she didn't, so she received no separation pay. Well, then, okay, then that's moot.
Yeah.
Okay. But the answer to your original question, Jamie, is no, she can't get back pay back to 05 because she never appealed it. And she went on with life for 18 years until she recently filed for it and then obviously got an increase. But that's good. She went from 70 to 80. So
Yeah.
that's a good bump, and congratulations to her on what she deserves too, for sure.
Okay, back to BZ. So last question for today. What would qualify sleep apnea to Gulf War or burn pit exposure for respiratory diseases? How would you connect, since diagnosis has been linked to mental health, rhinitis, and cyanitis?
Okay, I'm going to let you answer medically, Blake. I'm going to answer this real quick. Sleep apnea is not a presumptive with the Gulf War. However, Blake, you can answer.
If you have asthma, if you have COPD, if you have rhinitis or sinusitis, they may be linked. Maybe. Mental health is another question. There is all the studies will show increased correlation with PTSD, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you individually. I think personally, if I was rating somebody that had filed for OSA with PTSD, I'm going to look at all of the other risk factors first. And if you have 2 or more risk factors, then it is not more likely than not that the PTSD is causing it. So I think that's where a lot of people are getting denied, is that in-house medical. They're saying, okay, the 15 pounds you gained, the fact that you're going to have to overcome, number one, if you're male, you're going to have to overcome that because that's a predisposition for.
What about his question regarding the sinusitis and rhinitis?
There is evidence if he has chronic sinusitis or chronic rhinitis, then you then have a physical reason. I don't want to say medical, but a physical reason for the causation of OSA. With a OSA secondary to a mental health diagnosis, you're going to have a pretty airtight nexus to say that this is the only thing that can, in your case, this is the only thing that can cause it.
I hope that makes sense, because that has a better chance of getting sleep apnea secondary to it versus trying to do it to mental health. So, but it's not a presumptive to Gulf War.
Correct.
He asked, so is sleep apnea respiratory or mental health? And he does have rhinitis. He's at 0%.
So sleep apnea respiratory. It's not mental health.
Well, There are, if the only risk factor you have is PTSD, then and they can, you have a nexus that says it's more likely than not that this caused it. Yeah, but like I said, if you've got, there's a litany of about 15 things that physically cause OSA. And if you've got more than 2 of those, then it's more likely than not that those caused the OSA rather than your mental health. So getting it approved on a mental health diagnosis is 1 out of 100.
Hey, Chris, can you bring up Jamie's wife's thing? There we go. And then there's another part right behind it, he asked. Go ahead, Ash.
Okay. Since we're talking about loss of fingers and toes, wife lost tip of pinky due to gunshot wound and OIF. She got percentage for the hand, but not for the missing finger.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Okay. No. What about VA not giving her percent for the missing pinky?
You can get, what's the hand? I guess my question is what is the hand rate rated for regarding the gunshot?
Yeah.
And fingers can be rated for the hand under hand condition rating. So
60%.
She's rated 60% for the hand.
That's what he just commented, 60%.
Okay, because for amputation of fingers, so if it's a single finger amputation.
Yes, ma'am. It's for the hand, 60%.
Dominant or non-dominant? So which one did she say it was? Index? Pinky. Right?
So that's going to be little finger.
Little.
It says her non-dominant hand.
Okay, hold on a second.
I'm going to say that she has a hand, and if it's 60%,
right?
Then it's going to be the finger and the hand.
It is. Yeah, it's included, and it's the non-dominant, and she's rated 60% for the non-dominant hand. That's interesting.
30% the highest that they go.
Well, for loss of use amputation, see, she doesn't have the amputation of the hand, so that's not it.
Does she?
She could fall for that. Down at the bottom, that loss of use for the hand as well.
It's loss of use of foot. Hand amputation.
The code 5111.
All of those are saying and loss.
Foot. I'm sorry.
Yeah, loss of use of hand and loss of use
of the foot.
Right. If both hands are amputated, but see, for her, I keep going back to the amputation of the fingers and the little digit, which you can see here, grade 1, 2, 3, 4, which I'm not sure where it was amputated at. If you see this, Jamie, right, but see here, amputated here, amputated
right. Which grade?
Which phalanx is taken, and the other question is, what is she didn't get rated 60% for amputation of a hand. What's the condition of the hand that was it 60% for loss of use of hand?
Right. And
if that's so, then the pinky would have been, the amputation of the pinky would have been included in that. If she had, what's the
grade 1?
Yep, right, because he says it's the tip of the finger, which is grade 1. So if you go to the single finger, which grade 1's right here, right?
Yeah.
And then we're looking for
non-dominant hand.
Index?
Little.
The pinky, yes, ma'am.
So
non-dominant hand.
Right. This is the little right here. I mean, it would be 20%.
But what is the loss of use of hand? Because if she has the loss of use of hand without amputation, that may be 60%.
So loss of use or amputations. Here it is, right here. 60% for non-dominant hand.
That's what she got.
That's
Yeah,
what she
so
got.
The amputation of the finger is
Included.
included in that.
It's included, Jamie, right here under code 5120. God, I love this website. If any hand condition is so severe that the hand cannot be used at all or has been amputated, meaning including the index, then it's rated 70 for the dominant and 60. And you said she has 60% for the non-dominant hand. So she is rated correctly for that. Don't you guys love this website? It's awesome.
Well, I was
I
about
love
to
it
ask
better
you,
than the
Stephanie,
CFR.
could you comment that website?
Yeah, it's Military Made Easy. It's right up here, guys. So here it is. It used to be free, guys, but now I pay $20 a month to use it.
Okay.
So it's expensive.
Can you just drop the link in there?
Yeah, I could drop the link.
And Blake, check the private chat real quick for me for Beezy.
Okay, so I'm going to put this because this is mine. I don't want to put mine while I'm logged in. So let me put www.militarymadeeasy. Right? militarymadeeasy.com. It's a great website. Like I said, it costs money, but I love it because the navigation on this and more in depth it is than the CFR. I don't know. I like it way better. And this heating pad is way too freaking hot. Sorry, guys. Gotta go. Oh, the life of being a disabled veteran. So anyways, back to Jamie recapping. Sounds like she is rated accordingly for her hand. It sounds like she got the increase for the back. So, and then the answer is, unfortunately, no, there's no back pay to 2005 because she did not appeal then. So I hope that answers all your questions, Jamie. All right, what else we got?
There was a question from Breezy.
Yeah.
About the
Sleep apnea.
risk factors for sleep apnea. Go to the Mayo Clinic sleep apnea and search obstructive sleep apnea. MayoClinic.com. They will give you the whole spiel on it.
Sweet.
And we also do have one in our features on our Facebook page.
Yeah, I have an OSA. There's a OSA post that I did.
Yep.
About it that lists most of it.
He did. All right. Go ahead.
Okay, this one's from Miss Christina. So she had a hysterectomy surgery in December and submitted her claim for surgery and to receive 100% disability for the recovery time. It is now April and I still haven't heard any feedback on this.
Well, first question would be,
hold on.
I have a CMP exam in May. Do I ask the examiner about this or should I go back to the VA claim?
There's your answer, Blake.
Yeah.
She's not rated.
Yeah. If you weren't rated for the condition that the hysterectomy was done for, you're not going to get the 100%.
The hysterectomy has to be service connected in order to get the 100% temporary disability awarded.
I'll give you an example. If you were rated for endometriosis and they did a hysterectomy because of that, then you would get to 100%. But if you don't have a rating for a condition of the uterus, you're not going to get it.
She was rated for fibroids.
Okay, if you're rated for fibroids and they did the reason for the hysterectomy was fibroids or excessive uterine bleeding, then yes, you can. And then at that point, you should probably go back to the rep at the VA and say, we're looking for it.
Well, here's a couple questions too on the female reproductive. If you're rated like Blake said for the fibroids and those caused you to have the hysterectomy, you still have to have the hysterectomy service connected in order to get the 100% for it.
It wouldn't be secondary to the fibroids?
Which she has to file. She's got the claim pending now.
Right.
Right? That's what she said. So the hysterectomy
The
in of
his-
itself is not
the hysterectomy would be treatment of the fibroids. That would be the ultimate treatment of it, is to just remove them.
okay.
So she would need, she could also file for SMC
Mhm.
for that, because it's a loss of a reproductive organ.
Well, all of that will come once the hysterectomy is rated.
You don't need the hysterectomy rated. She has a disease that the treatment for that, the ultimate treatment for that disease is removal.
She said it was secondary.
Right. She's filed secondary for the hysterectomy.
Okay.
And that's where I'm going with it, because my daughter had this too in service. The hysterectomy in of itself has to be rated to get the SMC pay for the loss of a creative organ. So she doesn't have that rated yet. So in order for her to get the SMC-K,
I'm going to use a different
okay.
disease here.
Okay.
Let's go with asthma or COPD. Okay.
Okay.
The ultimate treatment on down the road is going to be steroids. That's going to be increase my rating for COPD. That's not a rating for the use of steroids. So the hysterectomy is a treatment.
Correct.
It is not necessarily a cause.
Right.
So
But under the female,
it's all secondary to her fibroids. So I'm not sure, because you can't get the 100% until the surgery is done, correct?
correct.
So you can't file for the hysterectomy as a cause until the hysterectomy is done. So therefore, you can't get 100% for a hysterectomy, because it's not going to be service connected prior to. You can't say, I'm going to have a hysterectomy, so can I get rated for it beforehand, before it's actually done?
Right. But she said she had the hysterectomy in December.
In December, right? And she filed for the 100%. But
right.
you can't get that 100% until you've
No.
had the hysterectomy, and you can't be rated for the hysterectomy until it's been done.
Correct.
So,
well, we're both saying the same thing.
Right. So she can't be rated for it and get the 100%, because by the time she's rated for it and then files for the 100%, she's going to be outside of the recovery time, and they're not going to give it to her.
Well, no, you can file for. The problem is if she had the surgery in December and she doesn't get rated with the effective date prior to December, then she will not get it. She could still go back to the VA. Let's say she had the surgery, like she said, in December. Let's say they rate her for the hysterectomy in October, prior to December of the surgery.
They can't rate a hysterectomy before it's done. You cannot have.
No, I'm saying the surgery. She can have.
Right.
She
can't get rated for it before it is done. You can't give a rating on speculation.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
That I'm going to have this done.
I see what you're saying.
But this is a treatment for the fibroid. That's the one and only reason she had it done, because she had a rated condition, and they took it out as a treatment for it.
All right. So what's the answer to her?
I think the answer is that she goes back and says, where the hell is my claim for this? Because I had this. She gets a letter from her doctor that says that the hysterectomy was a treatment for it. It is not something that she's filed for. Afterwards, after it's done, she can then file for the SMCK. But
she's already filed secondary.
Yeah, and well, no, she's filed for the 100% for.
No, she said she filed. She's pending a claim. Did I not read that incorrectly, guys?
It says she has a CMP exam. She doesn't say what it's for.
No, but she says down look at a couple more comments down. She states it was secondary. So, Christina, did you file for the hysterectomy secondary? Because that's what it sounds like.
Yeah, I don't see it on down here. Second.
Right here under
It was
VA claim,
secondary.
it was secondary. That's what it
Secondary
sounds
to
like.
what?
To her fibroids. That's what I think that's where I think she filed.
I don't think, like I said, I think that's going to be, I don't think you can file for just a hysterectomy.
Yes, you can. You can.
You still
I
have,
have many female veterans rated for hysterectomies.
right, but they were either done while on active duty, but because we don't give a hysterectomy unless a hysterectomy is secondary to nothing. It is a treatment for a condition. So the only way you can get rated for it is if is for the SMC.
That makes sense about being active duty because every female I know that's had a hysterectomy was active duty.
Right. So they lost it there. Now she had the hysterectomy as treatment for a condition that was diagnosed.
Because she's rated for the fibroids, had the hysterectomy because of the fibroids, she should get the 100%. But why would I was anemic because of this?
She needs to track down the claim and find out where it is in the claim process, because she hasn't. And of course, if she had it in December, this is April. So that's 90 days. I'm not sure how far. And they had, on top of all that, January 1st, they had the flood of PACT Act come through. Right. So it may still be out there pending, and she may get 3 months, but it may just be 3 months of retro pay.
Right.
It just it may still be in the works, but I would call my congressman, or I would call to ask where my claim is in the process. Has she gone online and seen what it says? Does it say it was denied? Does it say it's still in evidence gathering? Is it still where is it in the process?
She said I filed January 5th.
So she got stacked in there with all the PACT Act claims.
Right. But my concern is she filed it secondary. She filed the hysterectomy secondary.
Yeah.
The hysterectomy was a result of the fibroids having the uterus having to be removed. So, okay. So Christine, if you could track down your claim, if you can go on to va.gov and show, and again, Chris, if you can pop up the email, send me an email of the screenshot of how you filed the claim so we can kind of send that. Let us see how you filed the claim.
There is a difference in filing secondary and filing as treatment.
Correct.
You don't file for physical therapy because your back, secondary to your back.
She's saying they set her up for an exam. It's quite possible that the VA is going to untangle this for her. It's possible. It's possible the way she filed it, but I want to know how it was filed, Christina. So if you can just send me a screenshot of that and email it to me and just let me see. But it's possible that the VA is actually saying, no, it should be. And sometimes they do that. They fix it. Like it should have been filed this way. It should have been filed that way. Right. I went to my VA rep. Oh God. Okay. All right. Email me whatever you can and I'll try and answer it the best of my ability and try and see if we can decipher this for you and help you out. And we'll go from there. Now, Chris, I know we've got a few more questions.
We got one question left we want to get to. All right. So let's.
I saw a couple.
Well, we don't. We're running out of time, Steph. So we'll get one more, and the rest are just going to have to email us if we.
Okay.
Because you need to get off. So.
All right. Well, is it from Michael Donkin?
No, I was doing Carol Ann Harvey.
All right. Michael's before him. Can you go back up to 844 and put Michael Donkins on? And Carol Ann, if you're listening, you and I connect all the time. We're good. I'll help you out. So I'll get you on. I'll get you on the conversation.
Okay, so Mr. Michael, I have a CMP exam for increased both ankles. Can I add plantar fasciitis during the exam by talking to the examiner?
No.
Nope, you need to file a claim for plantar fasciitis.
And don't file it right now because you've already got existing claims.
Yeah,
If you
it'll
do-
just prolong it.
It'll prolong it. Let the increase for both ankles go through, finalize that decision, then go ahead. But right now, what you can do, Chris, do you have that ITF link? You can file an intent to file right now, put that as a placeholder so that when you do file, you've got that effective date preserved with that ITF. And that allows you up to 1 year to file on that ITF, any and all claims under it.
So
So
basically,
no.
you're saying submit that while the other claim is processing, so you hold the date.
Yes. And let the increase for the ankles play out. So yes. All right, guys. We got to jump off early. We've got a long day tomorrow. As we said in the beginning, Chris and I are traveling to Virginia because grandbaby's coming in a couple weeks. So any questions that we did not answer tonight, feel free to email them to us. We'll be happy to answer them to you. I'll get with Blake and Jackie, Ashley, and Chris. Be sure to join our Facebook group. If you haven't already subscribed to our YouTube channel, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. And like I said, we enjoy this as much as you guys. We appreciate you guys coming on. Stay tuned. Hopefully we'll have one in 2 weeks, pending grandbaby.
So hopefully we'll have 2 in 2 weeks. A new grandbaby and a
Live.
live.
And alive. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. All right. And Chris put donations. Sometimes people ask us about donations. We're not monetized with YouTube. So anything you guys want to donate to us goes back to the channel, helps us do these kind of things.
And also for these other more complicated issues, Steph will do consults.
Yep.
That process starts via the email. And then, like I said, we can kind of delve into some of these more complex issues, that we have more questions that we can't type out.
And if Steph doesn't have the medical, I jump on there with her occasionally too.
He does. It's pretty awesome. Yes, I appreciate that because there's sometimes I'm like, what the heck? I don't know what this means.
So, anyway, guys, we got to go. We'll see you in 2 weeks, and we'll be on the road. So, everyone have a great evening, and thanks for joining us.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Good night.